Welcome to episode 3, guys. Now, in this one, we're going to be speaking about why Jeff Bezos is on a yacht while his entire company are actually going back into the office. 2025 is all about back to the office. Yes, we're going back to normal. Not the new normal, but the normal before COVID. We're going to be in the offices, and there's no more hybrid, there's no more remote work. It's over. Okay, 2025 is how in-office work begins again. And also, a little bit of a spoiler, we're going to be going through how you can get yourself into Amazon and also what opportunities there are now getting into it. Stay tuned. Vaibhav, Amazon. They want people back in the office
From
2025. Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
I think that is going to be a deal breaker for a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely know a lot of people at my work. If we are given that notice to come in the office starting 2025,
Mm-hmm.
they're going to throw their hands up and
Yeah.
resign. Yeah, because
Yeah.
we have, one of the reasons I love working for LSEG is they have a very cool hybrid policy.
Mm-hmm.
And in London, we have 2 offices. So we work 3 days in the office. 2 days work from home.
Mm-hmm.
And even those 3 days, I have flexibility of working from 2 different offices.
Mm-hmm.
So I basically have 3 different places to work from: my home, office number 1,
Yeah.
office number 2. So, but coming in somewhere 5 days a week constantly,
It's not for everyone.
it's not for everyone.
Yeah. And I think with Amazon, what's going to happen is when they put this rule in January 2025, the people that got the jobs 2 years ago, who were like fully remote, or even let's say 70% remote, they are going to be like, I need to leave Amazon. But also the interesting thing is all the people that want to get into Amazon, who have struggled to get an interview with them, will start to see, oh, if I tell them that I don't want to do hybrid or remote, I'm going to be in the office.
That's their
Maybe they're
way
going to
in.
look at my profile a little bit more seriously.
Exactly. They'll be
Interesting.
like, I'm 100% for in-office working.
Mm.
I love working in fast-paced environments.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a collaborative team player, and people like that, people who really want to get into Amazon, they're going to really leverage that point to be able to get into Amazon. And funny enough, you say that. I'm very interested to see their recruitment stats starting 2025, because I'm pretty sure they're already recruiting for 2025 right now. So how does that affect? So maybe by the middle of 2025, how many people have left Amazon? How many people have Amazon hired? So it's going to be very interesting to see.
Yeah, 100%. And I definitely think with the first 3 months, so first quarter 2025, it's either going to be the best decision they've ever made or it's going to be the worst. And I love remote work. I think being able to choose where you work, having a team of people who are like in the office sometimes remotely, I think that fosters creativity.
Yep.
But I also think that the reason they're doing this is for the same reason that I think remote work is good. They want to foster that creativity in the office. And if you bring people in, which I get from a leadership perspective, let's get all the people back into the office. Let's get them collaborating with everyone. And let's try to generate as much collaboration, as much idea flow physically within one place. What the issue is, people are too used to remote work. And I think
Especially
that's...
for the past 4 years.
Yeah.
That's the norm.
Mm.
That is the norm. People want to be able to, wake up at 8 a.m. instead of 6 a.m. Those 2 hours matter a lot to people, especially me. But
Yeah.
but no, completely. Even some banks were saying. I think I heard like J.P. Morgan is gonna bring in 100% in-office policy starting 2025. Hasn't been announced yet, but it's very interesting to see. I think because COVID brought this hybrid option in place, which every company had to obey. But now that is the set norm. But a company like as big as Amazon, which used to be a massive unicorn, now a massive company, how do they keep up with competition with the likes of, Netflix is a competitor now. Meta is a competitor now. Basically, Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, and Mark Zuckerberg are fighting for the top throne. And Elon Musk has it. Yeah. And only recently, Mark Zuckerberg took over Amazon to become the second richest person on earth since he
Right.
announced the new Orient glasses. So I think everyone is trying to find that upper edge, and they think by having those people in office and constantly being collaborative, working in a team, and talking about things and basically failing forward is the way to go in order to able to find that edge to get that top spot.
Yeah, 100%. And I think also interesting you put Elon Musk, because Elon Musk wants people in the office as well.
Yep.
So if they're competing, that's going to be the big companies. Everyone's back in the office. But the smaller companies and the startups are going to see this as an opportunity. They're going to say, right, okay, we want to hire people from Amazon, from SpaceX, from Tesla, from everybody else, Netflix. How do we get them? Well, they're in the office and they don't want to be in the office. Let's just get them through remote work. We'll say, come into the office 2 times a week. Everybody's mandating you to come back, but you can actually work remotely with us. So I think a lot of talent are going to leave, and it's going to cause all this like whirlpool scenarios of how do I get into some of these other companies that I want to work in? You can do in office fully, or let's try to use the remote card with the smaller companies like startups. They're going to sell that. How do startups get people who work in Amazon? They give them benefits that Amazon cannot do. So that's going to cause a lot of opportunities. Does that make sense?
That's very interesting.
Yeah.
And I would also love to know your perspective on, I completely get people working from Amazon it's going to be very binary for them. Either they're going to love that or hate that. If they're going to love that, they're going to stay. If that's not for them, they're going to leave. But what sort of opportunities does this present for a new job seeker or a new graduate?
Sure. So a new job seeker right now, let's say Amazon is their baseline job. I want to work for Amazon, or I want to work for Netflix, who's going to follow suit like Amazon. It's not going to be as tough as it used to be, which is a good thing, because Amazon had the pick of everything. They had a candidate-driven market. They can choose whoever they wanted. Now, because they're putting this rule in, it's going to separate everybody. So the people that don't want to work in this place because it's in office, and the people who are like, hey, I want to work in this place because it's in office and I can provide and learn and do whatever I need to. So if you're a new job seeker, the first thing you need to realize is work style. Work style is going to change 2025, 2026. As we reel from what happened during COVID and everything goes back to quote unquote normal in terms of working. Because let's not forget, for the last 5 years, everybody's gotten used to this like new norm of work, and now it's going back to the old norm, or it's trying to at least. So how do you sell yourself now to get into an in-office environment? You need to show that your work style will feed your soft skills, will feed the career progression. And you have to also sell that, hey, I really want to do in office. I don't want to just sell that and hate it and then become a remote worker in another company. You need to deal with hiring managers, decision makers, and you actually need to explain that. Because if you do it and you explain it, you'll be in a much better position. And that just needs to happen. So that's the opportunity. And a lot of people, I think, will either get it or they're just going to do the same thing they used to do before, which is, I can't get into Amazon. What's the one thing? What's the one way that I can actually get a hiring manager or a decision maker to actually hear me out? And work style. Work style is going to have to be the way. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so you're saying this presents an opportunity for people who have been trying to get into Amazon but haven't gotten in yet. And this is a nice window of opportunity that they need to capitalize on. I get it. Remote work, everyone loves it, but and 100% in office might not be for everyone. But I think if people who really want to work for Amazon, they're like, okay, let's just take the bullet on this one and see the perks that come on later on. They can highly capitalize on it.
Yeah.
I 100% see that.
Definitely. And the thing is, you have to understand why they're doing it in the first place. My opinion is they're not getting the most out of their workforce. They don't trust the workforce. People are at home. Are they doing the work? Are they actually saying what they're doing? Okay, they have Zoom meetings, they have Google Team meetings, whatever it is. But are we getting the most out of our employees? We have all these great, crazy projects. Now with AI, I think there's a lot of focus on, wow, there's so much more ambition with new projects. Let's get people back in the office and let's work on it. Let's foster that creativity. From a company's perspective, you want to account for what your people are doing. And I think there's an element of non-trust or distrust, let's put it that way. Not in a super negative way, but I think in a way where
company just wants to have an oversight on people, especially during their working hours.
Yeah.
And since the incorporation of AI, there's a race. Who's going to win it? Because more or less Apple has been the forerunner, being one of the biggest companies in the world. But the introduction of AI has given people a chance to be able to challenge that. And even though Apple has brought in AI in their new devices, and which is going to be introduced in December, but with that, Meta is becoming. I've seen already iPhone 16's demand is 16% less as compared to last year.
Right.
The new Meta Orient glasses is basically an interface that you have with your glasses and a band, and you can control it. So people are saying like that's the first step of dominoes that falls for Apple. I don't know how true is that, but I do see AI being a chip that flips the table for any company who is willing to put their workforce through that rigorous, working style, which is, being in the office 9 to 5, Monday to Friday, crack on, and because the stakes couldn't be higher for these companies and for new companies coming in as well.
Yeah, I agree. And you hit a very interesting point by talking about AI and how much opportunity there is. Because if you think about a perspective right now of someone like an average Joe using AI, let's say you use ChatGPT or you have a specific program you're using, and you start realizing, wow, there's so many benefits here. From a company's perspective, times that by 10,000 because you have resources, you have a workforce, you have people, you have ideas, you have creativity, and then you have all these chips of assets are everywhere. So let's get people back into the office and let's start utilizing a more cohesive, organized, like you said, oversight as the main viewpoint to be able to handle that. Because things are going to change. Like if Meta I'm not sure about the thing on the wrist. I haven't actually seen that. I've seen the glasses. But if they end up doing, an overtaking Apple,
That'd be great.
that'll be insane. That'll be absolutely insane. And I'm also super excited about it. But then how does that change the workforce in the future? Because I would argue that once AI becomes more automated with specific tasks, why would people need to be in the office as much with the Amazon policy and all the other companies following suit? That's an interesting
That
point.
is a very great point you bring up. I think AI is going to, in the next 5 years, the entire working style of a normal person is going to change. There's going to be AI taking over, a lot of menial tasks like creating presentations or doing Excel sheets. I hate doing Excel sheets.
Yeah, me too.
And
me too.
VLOOKUP and all that bullshit.
Yeah.
But I think with the inception of AI into people's workflows, it's going to be very interesting to see what sort of tasks are like, which might have taken people days to do, are just going to take a couple of minutes just because they just typed in a prompt in, or if they have some sort of AI within Microsoft like Copilot, and use that to create their decks, create their pitch for the clients, and they can work on. I think this, funny enough, you say that AI is going to replace that, but again, because it's going to help with a lot of menial tasks, but the relationship part of the business will have to drill down more, I think.
Yeah. Quick commercial break. You're applying for jobs, nothing's happening, and you're flying blind. I know the feeling, I've been there myself. You're not alone. There is a fix, there is a solution. The solution is data. Data to know who you need to apply to, what to say to which people, in which companies, and how to say it, alongside soft skills, company culture, and work style, which is what we're talking about today, in terms of how that could be an opportunity to get into work. Gone are the days of applying blind. Right now, you know who to speak to, what to say to them, and how to carry the conversation on with networking. If you look at the link in the description, you will see something called Job Search Power Pack. I want you to have a click. I want you to have a look. If you think that it can help you, give it a go.
After a while, there can be that things start to look the same. And a client goes into 5 meetings and he says, oh, 3 of those presentations looked very similar. The pitches were very similar because, it used the same engine, created them.
Yeah.
Then comes in the front runner who is pitching to the client, the relationship with them, and how do you carry that relationship? And that comes again to your personal soft skills and how do you carry yourself, how do you carry the company's name with yourself, and what sort of relationship you have built with the client over the years. That would help you stand out as compared to different pitches.
Yeah. And I think interesting question to ask you because you're in a role that is kind of remote, hybrid, and in office.
Yep.
Let's say London Stock Exchange Group decided right now, okay, everyone back in the office.
Yep.
How would you feel about that?
So me personally, because I don't have a lot of responsibilities like a family or kids to take care of, it would be like taking a bullet, but I'd be okay with it at the end of the day. But I know a lot of people who work at London Stock Exchange groups. They have 10 years of more than 15 years, 20 years now, and they have two, three kids that they have to, when they're dropping off childcare, picking them up, going to their London Stock Exchange Group is very flexible place to work, and that would really, I know it will be a deal breaker for quite a few people because a lot of people leave London Stock Exchange and come back, leaving their even higher salaries just because of the flexibility that this job gives them and the ability to be with their family and spend some time together whilst also doing your work and performing good at your work. We are not demanded to stay in the office till 10, 11 p.m. It's a pretty typical job, and you can leave the offices, at 6 p.m. and then go about your day as long as you're doing your job. Yeah, that is
Sure.
100%.
As long as all the stuff is done, all the
Exactly.
projects are hit, which the company
Emails
trusts
are
you.
answered.
The emails are answered, which I hate doing, and I have like an extensive list of emails right now. If I check my phone, there's probably about 57 of them. So whoever's listening, and I probably have not replied to you, I'm doing this. That's why. So there we go. So how does it change for the future then? If Amazon really knuckles down this policy and all the big companies follow suit, and then the small companies start really taking the talents of the big companies, what's your thoughts on the future of the workforce?
Quite interesting. I think this will give a chance for new talent to go and rise in ranks in those already massive set companies like Amazon. But the talent that leaves Amazon, it'll give a huge chance for startups that are being initiated right now and giving them a huge chance to compete with the likes of these companies and actually scale up and become big organizations like Amazon, Google, Apple. Because at the end of the day, it's people who make a company or even break a company. And as long as the people are happy, and you can actually drive forward and ask more of them. But if the people are not really happy, how are you supposed to ask them for double-digit growth when they are already giving you their all? You aren't giving them, decent pay rises every year, but you're asking them and trying to milk every single ounce of their productivity and out of them in order for your shareholder value, but you don't give them anything in return. So this would definitely, it would be an interesting area because these top talents leaving these big organizations going to new startups, and there can also be chances like when these startups grow, they get bought by same again Amazon or these companies like this. This definitely gives chance to emerging startups to grow and get their name out by taking talent from companies like Amazon or people who are going to leave because of these set in stone policies and use that to their leverage and scale up their company and make sure that the world knows about it.
Yeah, that's a good point. I'm trying to think about if this works for Amazon, they get all these people back in and then they start building robots to do the job that they brought the people back in to do, if that makes sense. That's going to really disrupt
That sounds
everything.
like a next
Like
James
a
Cameron movie.
dystopian nightmare. Huh?
Yeah.
And I can see that happening. I think a lot of the people that really come back into the office and then start building on the new AI projects, which is, I think, what it is. That's my prediction. So, if you want to clip this and, maybe show it in the future, that's what I think. But if everybody comes back into the office and the future of job changes, it's going to be just more opportunities to talk about like the non-hard skills that people have. Because if you're in a actual company office physically with other people, you have to rely on your communication ability, your adaptability, your teamwork ability, and also your empathy. And I think a lot of people might have lost that in the last 5 years. Because imagine right now, for the last 5 years, there's a lot of people at Amazon right now and in every other company who have been working from home non-stop for probably 5 years. They might have come to the office for Christmas parties. They might have just been there once every 3 weeks to kind of say hi to everyone because they kind of really have to and they don't have a choice. But that's going to go from, okay, I'm going to go back inside with physical humans again and I don't want to communicate with them. That's going to be a really interesting point of view. And I think a lot of people are going to leave.
Actually, so funny you brought that up. A really good friend of mine, I think late 2022, She gave 3 interviews for Amazon. And I don't know if people know, in late 2022, they had a hiring freeze then all of a sudden. And then they started laying off people. So my friend, she went through, I think there were 4 stages of interview. She gave 3 stages. And then she was told because there's a hiring freeze, they won't move forward. But whenever they start again, she would be considered. And one of the things that she brought up was like, these people are very cold. So, and she had 3 interviews, and all 3 interviewers were, she said that it was like talking to a robot. And it's, as soon as you said that, it just, brought that memory up. I was like, oh, interesting. So these people have been working for better part of now 4 or 5 years from home. They haven't been in the office, really collaborated.
Yeah.
There's no riffing. There's no working with each other towards solving a problem. It's all, oh, I just ping this person. Hey, are you available for a quick call?
Yeah.
That's the norm. And soft skills now will play the most important part, because hard skills, as we said earlier, can be taught, and these companies will invest in you to teach you these hard skills. But if you are unavailable to come to the office, why would they?
Yeah.
But if you are a nice person, you're collaborative, you are a team player, and can, show empathy towards people and can collaborate with the entire team whilst moving forward, they will invest in you and, get you equipped with the right technical skills that is required for your job and help you in your career progression as well.
I agree. But also the opportunity that I can't stop thinking about, like, just the level of opportunity that's there now for just the everyday job seeker, the person who wants to work in these big companies. And we talk about Amazon, but we're really talking about, okay, the big guys and then all these startups and medium-sized companies. And I think there's going to be a big divide. So you asked me before, what would be the advice that I would give a new job seeker, someone entry level, or even a job changer? I would actually think about it this way. Double down, like you said, on soft skills, 100%. Am I a communicator? Yes, no. Okay, teamwork. Yes, no. Okay, I've been working remotely for 5 years, kind of need to work on my teamwork. But when you're networking with these companies or making applications, just because you haven't done teamwork in the last 5 years, doesn't mean you don't have it. You can actually flip it when you network with these companies to say, look, teamwork is something I want to work on because I have been working remotely for the last X amount of months, years, whatever it is. So that's a pitch. Another pitch is if you haven't got any work experience, you can say to Amazon or big companies like, look, I want to really be in the office. My life hasn't been quote unquote normal because of COVID. I've been in university during COVID, let's say. Not me personally, but many, many other people, I wish. Well, not COVID, but, a younger version of me. And how do you then pitch that to say, I want to work here and I don't have the experience? Well, work style. Want to be in the office, want to talk to people, want to build these soft skills. And also it opens up the opportunity to ask, like, what soft skills do you look for? And the hard skills are going to be taught in office, and I'm so grateful for that, so you can flip it again. But what can I give you as a job seeker, Mr. Amazon, Mr. Netflix, Mrs. Apple, however you want to look at it? What skills can I give you, or soft skills can I work on in your environment to allow you to build the hard skills that I need to be successful in the role? Now think about how that flips, because before, up until now, apply, network, hope for the best, I'm shooting kind of blind, flying blind, I don't know what I'm saying to who. Now you've got a clear line, a clear trajectory. Soft skills, work style. It's never been more important than now, in my opinion.
That is so true. And people missing that technical skill can use these soft skills to their advantage to get an interview at these jobs and at these companies and be able to go for these jobs, because they've been studying universities online, they've been going to school online, and they can use that to their advantage and be like, I want to be social, I want to be a team player. I haven't had that opportunity doing that in universities because it was all online. But given the opportunity at Amazon, I'm willing to be in there every single day, be a team player, help other people out whilst I learn from them and work towards one goal.
Yeah, that's a good point. But I'm also thinking about how other companies are going to see this. Like, for example, our company, you're a part of it now. So Vaibhav is obviously the co-host of the podcast, as you know, but he's also has an invested interest in the future of How to Job. And I think it's really important for How to Job specifically to be a remote-free organization. Yes, we have hybrid workers, we have people who want to be in office, but also the remote aspect I really like. And I think from my perspective as a founder to hire other people, let's say I wanted to hire someone from Amazon. I'm going to look for, let's say, a dev, or I'm going to look for whoever it is. I'm going to be really pitching that remote aspect. So you can work fully remotely as long as you get the job done, because you've got the skills that we need. Now, I can understand that bigger companies are going to be like, no, we expect you to have the skills and we want you in the office. But I'm also thinking, like, who made this policy? Do you think it's like a conspiracy where everything's supposed to go back to normal? Or do you think Jeff Bezos on his yacht one day thought, let's get them all back in?
Oh, man, what goes through that mind is just, completely crazy, because I don't know, Jeff Bezos, I wish I could be that rich, have a yacht built somewhere, and then realize that, it can't leave the harbor.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's crazy. I think it can be 50-50, and it can be a push towards normalcy and, everything being back at pre-COVID times, and trying to push for that extra 2018, 2019 vibe where everyone was coming in the office, everyone was, spending hours commuting, everyone was not seeing their children complete throughout the week and only on the weekends. But it's also the competition towards who's going to win the AI race, who's going to make that product, who's going to basically make the new iPhone, who's going to make the new Amazon. Because, Amazon, especially Amazon, made that policy because Amazon has a vested interest in everything. Amazon is competing against Netflix. Amazon is competing against media. I mean, Amazon has a competitor for every niche product that we love, and Amazon is in market in all of these at number 2 or number 3. So I think that extra push comes from the idea of becoming number 1.
Yeah.
And asking the best out of these people, and they're like, no, we know Netflix algorithms is the best. How do we make Prime's algorithm the best?
Yeah.
Asking all those producers, like, guys, take as much money as you want, but we have to make great content. Why is Netflix winning all the Emmys?
Yeah.
Why didn't Amazon Prime, any Amazon Prime show win any Emmy? What is the most famous Netflix show that you know?
That's a good point.
On the top of your head.
I'm thinking Extraction 2, but that's a movie.
Okay, that's a Netflix title.
But that's a Netflix specific,
that is Netflix,
right? Yeah.
Give me one more. Are you tired of constantly seeing the jobs that you want to apply to on LinkedIn and then almost go to apply for and then see 5,000 people have already applied for the job? Or have you already filled in job applications, putting in hours of work, customizing your resume and your cover letter completely to the job description so that you actually land the next stage interview, but in the email and you get, you've been rejected again? You need the Job Search Power Pack. Job Search Power Pack is a research document on yourself which highlights your soft skills and measurable metrics that you can use right now in order to land your dream job that you want. It helps you connect with the right people, gives you the jobs role of the people that you should be connected to, gives you the right messaging that you should be able to send to these people who are working at the companies that you want. And then you can have a complete career framework within that Job Search Power Pack that will lead you from your new job to the eventually job that you want. So get the Job Search Power Pack today and thank us later.
I can't think of anything.
What's Ilona Holmes, Wednesday?
Oh, yeah.
The new Mark Wahlberg movie, The Union. I mean, there's like new
My
Netflix
memory is so
stuff.
bad today.
It's okay.
One of those days.
Name one Amazon Prime original show.
I can't.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
Exactly.
I should have given you more from Netflix. Yeah, I get your point now. Yeah, you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
And that's a big deal for them as well.
Exactly, because Amazon Prime is not the primary source of people for anything. It's the secondary or tertiary, right? Okay, Amazon is the primary source for people to go and buy their stuff online. They have conquered that. They have massacred everyone in that area. But how do they win the streaming wars? They haven't won it yet. How do they win the media wars? How do they win the Alexa war, or the Siri war, the personal assistant war?
Yeah, I didn't even think about that.
Exactly.
And I guess from a job seeker's point of view, do you then go in, and I'm just spitballing here, when you network, do you then go in, hey, your platform's bad? It's not bad, not as good as Netflix is. Is that something I can help with? I mean, think of that pitch. You kind of want to change it a little bit, of course, but that could be a really interesting way
I
to
think
get
the
the
pitch for
attention.
that would be I want to make Amazon Prime the new cable TV for every person in the United States and then globally. Because when I think of Netflix now, everyone has a Netflix subscription. Why? Netflix is the new cable. Netflix is getting sports, I think, by the end of this year or beginning of 2025.
I heard that, yeah.
Netflix is going to start streaming Thanksgiving Day NFL games. So Netflix has, at a point, it conquered the streaming wars, but now it went from being a growth company to a normal company because there's only enough someone can do, and they have been spending billions in production and producing, so that hurts their bottom line as well and reduces their profits because they have to spend more in order to keep the current customers, because they were very easily able to bring on different movies that were theatrically released before, put on their streaming so that and license them so that people can come and watch them, and then in order for them to keep that subscriber, they have to keep making new content. So that's hurting their bottom line, and they have nowhere else to expand, and it doesn't give anything to the subscriber to stay for. Amazon Prime, okay, for now they've been only just making a few Amazon Prime TV shows and movies. Then they bought MGM Studios. That's a major move. Boys, one of my favorite Amazon Prime TV shows. If you haven't checked it out, please. It's for adults only, by the way, but it's...
Take it from me. This guy's recommendations of like everything is amazing. So just if he tells you to watch it, trust me, watch it.
Exactly. So Amazon Prime, basically Alexa, everyone so everyone uses Alexa on their speakers, but then Apple came along with their HomePod, and then everyone was like, oh, if I get Siri in my speaker, I'd rather take Siri than Alexa, because Siri has a vested interest of being that Apple ecosystem, especially in North America, where people are like all Apple. So again, Amazon is the secondary choice for everyone, and anyone who wants to get into Amazon, and if it's a specific niche like AWS, or Prime, or like Prime recommendation, I would highly recommend. The pitch would be, I know Prime may not be as good as their competitor yet, and there might be a secondary option for a consumer, but I want to work in that specific Amazon subsection because I want to be able to make it the primary source for all the subscribers. I think that is a very good pitch for someone looking.
Yeah. And I think a really interesting thing that you hit on there was measurable metrics.
Yep.
Because if you see a challenge with a company's growth,
Exactly.
the measurable metric is the key for them to see the benefit. So when I tell people, for example, I'm working with a student at the moment for interviews, and they've told me, hey, Milo, like the STAR method, situation, task, action, result, which I absolutely hate because it's like you have to be in an interview to remember all of that, and it's awful.
I remember my palms being sweaty once because it was like STAR, okay, situation, task.
I know, right?
It's a lot.
And it's just like, and you're in an interview and you think about that. But the reason I bring that up is measurable metrics are benefits that the company looks for. So if you find a challenge, like you put with Amazon, there's a specific challenge there. Hey, I want to help with this. This is the challenge. These are the metrics that I bring as positives. And this is the benefit that those metrics can bring to actually doing the job itself. So when you're in an interview, or even when you're speaking with companies, you've got logic and you've got benefit. Now, we're talking about Amazon. We're talking about all these companies changing their work style. But we have to understand why that's happening, in my opinion. And if you're job seeking right now, so if you're looking for a job at this moment, one thing that I would do if I were you was to start thinking, why are these companies changing the policy? Is there something wrong? Is there something that needs to be fixed? And if there is something that needs to be fixed, could I be a potential value add? And if I can, how? And I think the measurable metric part that you kind of hit on right now, and I'm glad you did, because I was thinking, how could this bring value to the viewers? And that's the perfect way to do it, because figure out the soft skills, the measurable metrics, why the companies are doing it. Another little segue that I found out about a couple of days ago, sick notes are going through the roof. Like people are taking a week off of work when they're working remotely, more than people who are actually in office. So I think there's another caveat to that. And getting sick notes, you know how easy it is to get a sick note now? It's 2 minutes on a laptop, sending a note to a GP. They'll give you it's like a chat bot. You can say, hey, I'm not feeling well today. Which, by the way, look, if you're not feeling well, you're not feeling well. I get it. I don't want to be like...
I'm not going to be feeling well in a couple of days.
But it's one of those things that it shouldn't be that easy. And when I saw that there's a YouTube video on how to do sick notes, by the way, please don't do this because it's...
Why are you searching how to do sick
notes? I was like, I'm super
You're your
interested.
own boss.
I know. I was like thinking to myself, like, okay, I'm going to take a day off on Tuesday, but why?
There's no days off being an entrepreneur, guys.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. 7 days a week. Literally. If I could have an 8-week work week, I'm the first to sign up. Yep. That's very unhealthy, but hey, anyway. But sick notes. So it's a chatbot process. It's like, hey, I'm not feeling well. Okay. GP comes up because they don't want to see you anymore in actual physical practices. Those guys need to go back to work. But anyway, side note. So podcast for another day. And then you say, okay, I'm not feeling well, but reason why, having a tough week. I'm feeling the pressure. Okay, no worries. Here's a sick note. Show this to your line manager, and they should legally not force you back into work.
That's why I love working in the UK. So as you guys know, I'm an international job seeker. And because I've lived and worked in India for the first 20 years of my life, I know how people work there. And people work even Saturdays there. So it's Monday to Saturday. And every second Saturday, they might get a half day. And yeah, people are just forced to work. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, there comes the positives and negatives of each side because, okay, if someone is in the office less here, they will try to get more work done because they come out of because they have this sense of responsibility for their job. Whereas some in India, it's more like, oh, I'm forced to be here. Mm-hmm. But then again, it's, as you said, it's the metrics. It's why you come to that, why you work for that company and being able to, be a part of the solution towards the company's problem. And I think everyone, if you're looking to get into a company, if it's a public company, I would highly recommend try to see, what was their last quarter earnings like, what if their CEO got on a video call, which they usually do, what did he say, what are their priorities as a company, and what are they looking for. And if you drop these things in your interview, these are game changer. These are absolute game changer. Even if like 1 or 2 points, like, oh wow, this guy has a lot of vested interest, not only in our company but in our growth. Why would they not want to hire you?
Yeah, that's a good point. I remember from episode 1, you talked about when you spoke to London Stock Exchange Group, you were actually talking about their Microsoft deal.
Yes.
That they did a day before.
I was on a call with my manager's manager who was literally doing the last check, making sure that, we are not hiring a crazy person. And the day before, everywhere in news, London Stock Exchange was, new Microsoft 10-year partnership has been announced. That's like gold. Like this is pure gold. And how can I not use that? And 100%. I'm like, please. And instead of them asking me about my experience, I was like, please tell me more about the deal. How did it come to fruition? How much time did it take? What were the stakeholders involved? And the conversation became more about her than myself. And it was boom, deal done.
Well, I think if you ask questions, especially the 80-20 rule that I like to follow, like you get people to talk more than you talk, especially in an interview. It's pretty tough to do that. But I think you nailed it with London Stock Exchange Group. And I think other people can nail it in the same way. But asking a ton of questions. So now if I can give anybody advice specifically especially with work style, ask a ton of questions like, what do you think about the policy? Will it be changed in the future at your company? Will your company follow suit with Amazon? What are the benefits of that from your perspective? And it helps with networking so much now that you can actually have more of a serious conversation, because it was always about culture, soft skills. And you hear me talk about this all the time. If you follow me on LinkedIn, I just talk about those two things.
And this brings a new talking point to that initial coffee chat. So it's like, hey, can I please get on a quick call with you and understand what is the working culture like? What are the soft skills that are required for this job? And what is the working situation? Is it completely office, hybrid, or what?
Yeah. And will that change? And what's the reason behind it? What are your thoughts on this? And you've just got a new conversation starter that's so universal. And then you can segue into soft skills, company culture, and all these other things. And then hard skills, measurable metrics, which if you follow us and what we talk about in this podcast, and by the way, please comment and like below what you want us to talk about. If there's a specific type of subject, hey, I'm not getting interviews, or I'm getting interviews, but I'm not really like converting them into offers, we will cover that. So we want to hear from you guys. And obviously don't forget to like and subscribe, please, because there's like a legend that apparently if you do it, then we just make more podcasts and they just get better quality. And we actually get more guests as well.
Exactly. And tune in, guys. I think we have some very interesting guests coming up in the upcoming podcasts. But I think this is a nice way to wrap up this episode.
I think so. Just before you guys go, next week's episode, we have one of my students who got into a role within about 5 weeks. And he actually spoke about work style before the Amazon news. And he converted that into a soft skill conversation that ended up getting 2 offers from 2 companies. So tune in next week. And with that, I think we're good.